All right, Alex Keane.
All right, we're in.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You rode here
Fresh off a bike ride
on a pushy.
on a push bike
You mad fucker, you're risking death.
down Sydney Road.
Yeah, that's nuts. You've
it's
heard my
crazy.
bit about that.
I have. Yes.
I'm too frightened. I fear you're a hero in my book.
It's
It's fucking dangerous, isn't it?
well, the positive thing about riding down Sydney Road is traffic's always so bad that you're never really going fast. So you sort of always feel like you could see yourself get car doored or see someone swerve or see.
Yeah.
Went through a tram, like when the tram stops and everyone on the left has got to give way.
Yeah.
Car wise.
Yeah.
I just figured because I was a bike, that didn't apply to me, but obviously it does.
Did you get abuse hurled at you?
Not really, because there was not many people going on and off.
All right.
And like, you're in control, so you just slowed down. I feel like I'm one of them. You're closer to a pedestrian than you are a vehicle when you're on the bike.
Did you stop?
Well, I just slowed down and sort of it was like three people. So
Right.
I sort of just I was at a walking pace, weaving in and out.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big deal.
I get scared of riding a pushy on the road and someone's going to open their car door that's parked.
Yeah, that's the greatest fear, isn't it? Of the car door.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm just without a car. Like I have had a car my entire life, and I've been without one for the last. I don't know. We did the gig in Kerrang, so maybe just after that I had to give it back, and so for the last couple of months, I've been no bike, but
All right.
no car. Sorry.
How
yeah.
come you lost your car? Like the perks of the job.
Perks of the job? I'm working in Asia at the moment, so I'm doing on the Asia team. So they basically couldn't really justify me having a car.
So you go into an office and you...
I'm just working from home, so
Oh, you work from home?
yeah. There's no need for me to have a car, and someone else needed it, so they sort of went, look, we know it's a perk, but this person kind of needs it more than you,
So
because
it's
there's
gone.
no cars coming in to the country, like in that global supply chain thing because of COVID. Like you can't order a new car now, so
No?
they've ordered one. It's on the way.
Right.
It's just I got to wait until we can get it.
All right, so if someone opens up their parked car door and collects you, it's your work's fault.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, good. You can sue them.
I don't have health insurance
Fine.
on account of that. They are it.
Fuck. So you gigged last night in Frankston.
Did
I was in Torquay.
I saw with Watsy.
Yes.
I love John Watt.
Love John Watts.
Love Ferg Neal and
Great gigs.
Claire Hooper.
Yeah, it was a great show.
I did that gig. Oh, maybe just before, maybe like June last year, just before July last year when we went into lockdown. It was the night before we went into lockdown.
Was that you and Evan Hocking and
It was-
Dave O'Neill?
That was that. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, they reckon it was raucous. It was like a New Year's Eve party.
Exactly.
Everyone
like
was
that.
trying to like smash piss before
Yeah. They
getting grounded.
yeah.
By
yeah.
Dan.
I don't know if they the brewery would like me, but they didn't play by the rules when it came to closing time. Like Evo and I, we carpooled and we were heading out, and they were all just moving out of the brewery bar into the brewery shed where they actually do the brewing because
At midnight.
Yeah, because the police wouldn't look in the shed. Yeah,
To keep going, yeah. It's very close by that shed.
It was very close by. Yeah,
Now I know why. It explains there was a lot of soundproofing around the sides there.
Oh yeah, there
So
you go.
maybe they had some sessions.
Yeah, they would have.
They can always invert commas brew. Can't they be brewing?
can brew at any time.
Yeah, we're working.
Bakeries open at 2 in
Yeah.
the morning?
Just because I'm chucking up and he's holding my hair back.
Yeah, it doesn't mean we're
doesn't
not on the
mean-
clock.
It's a work in progress.
It's just not a good batch. That's why I'm throwing up.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, man. So, we did the gig last night. It was in Morty Alec, actually, which I think is pretty close to Frankston.
Morty, was it? I don't know that gig. What was it?
It's a brewery gig. They're all the breweries love the comedy.
Love the comedy.
Geordie Mitchell from Death or Glory,
Oh, is this Brayside?
Brayside.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And who'd you go down with? Quirky.
Lee Quirban.
Lee Quirban.
Yeah,
right.
Is that you say Quirban? I say
Quirban.
Quirban because it's a Q, right?
I say Quirban.
The MC said Quirban last night, and I thought to myself, that makes more sense. But
He hasn't pulled me up on it.
no,
He's a really fiery guy. He's really nasty. Like,
he tried to
like
stab me
wanna,
twice.
You don't want to cross him. He'll fuck you up.
He's the fucking nicest guy alive.
Yeah, I know. That's why.
I know.
He's very charming.
He is. Yeah. He's a nice.
He's an Adelaide boy.
He's an Adelaide boy.
Are you an Adelaide boy?
I'm a Queensland boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm out.
No, I want to end up in Queensland.
You don't.
I do.
You don't know enough about Queensland.
No, I'm very self-contained though. I don't want to. I don't mix with the general population.
That's fine then.
I want to get an apartment and buy a 40 grand yacht and just sail during the day and then do gigs at night.
That's chill. I don't know where. That's the issue with Queensland. It's so spread out. I don't know where you could do that. Like the only place.
Sunshine Coast. They
There's
reckon
no
it's
gigs.
They
There's no
reckon
gigs.
I
I
could
grew up on
drive.
the Sunshine Coast.
Oh, did ya?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Is there a lot of wogs there? Will they like
There's-
me?
They'll like you, but no, there's not a lot of. It's a very, yeah, it's just a very white place, like a very
That's
Anglo-Saxon place. You
Nice.
like that? Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
You would, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. You didn't have you like I wouldn't have known a what going to school.
Fuck, did they get rid of the Indigenous there as well? I know they got
No
rid of them in
Indigenous.
Victoria.
No Indigenous.
Fuck.
I
You
lived
know,
in Cairns for a while. A lot of Indigenous up there, obviously in Townsville.
Yeah.
That was. I remember like seeing more Indigenous people and being like, oh, okay, yeah. I didn't see these when I was a kid. You know.
I didn't see him when I was a kid either. It's crazy.
Mm.
And then I read an H.G. Wells novel, and he references the genocide of the Aboriginals in Tasmania.
Right.
And that's how and then I worked backwards, and I'm like, holy fuck, some shit went down here.
What happened? Just pushed the Indigenous north?
Yeah, they just killed them. No, they walked a line across Tassie and culled them. It's awful.
Damn, that's
and
some
they don't
light
teach us
reading.
that at school. Anyway, I'm going
No.
dark. I'm so
yeah,
sorry,
that is
man.
some light reading. All right.
So sorry.
We're 5 minutes in. And
Yeah, I sat down to watch to read War of the Worlds, and I think he references it in one of his opening pages.
right.
Yeah. Anyway, he was an arsehole, H.G. Wells. Anyway, he was a real cunt.
Right.
Yeah,
There you go.
Real racist prick.
Damn.
But he wrote The Time Machine, which is one of my favourite short stories.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get some notes of books after you off you after the pod.
What do you like reading? I like
don't know.
sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't know about
Sci-fi
sci-fi.
and autobiographies.
I like the history stuff, you know.
I
But
do YouTube for that.
oh,
Lazy.
YouTube it. Yeah. Okay. There's a good pod, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History.
Yes.
It's a good one.
What's your favourite history?
I don't know. I don't know enough about any of it. You know, I wanna know more about it. This is what I do when I find a topic I like. I skim the top, find out really no detail, pretty much just enough to maybe mention when I'm having a beer with someone, and then hope that they don't know more than me.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
if
always
they know-
get caught out.
Yeah, I get caught out so bad, and I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, you really got to start going deeper, you dickhead.
Yeah.
I'm like, did
Exactly.
you know? And they're like, actually, I did. I read the 2 books on it. I'm like, oh fuck, I just watched a 2-minute YouTube. Oh god.
So you're interested in history. If I was to give you a time machine and tell you can only go back in time, that's the only place you can go back in
Yeah.
time. What's the one or top 2 places you'd go? And don't say you'd go to a gig to heckle yourself and the first opening gig you've ever done, so you won't fucking gig ever again.
Man, I wouldn't have thought of that. And I don't think I would have done that.
I would.
You would? You would?
I
You would
would-
just
I would-
chose not this life?
I would go back to the Corner Hotel in 2002 and heckle myself in July 18th on a cold night. Heckle myself so I would never do stand-up because this is a horrible drug.
Damn.
This fucking heroin that we're addicted to.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I think, yeah. If I didn't have it, though, I think I'd be even more depressed than I am, you know? So it's like,
yeah, absolutely. I'd be on
um,
ice at the pokies.
yeah.
For sure.
Selling
Guaranteed.
toasters.
Pokes and ice. Selling toasters. Anything.
Um,
Anyway, I cut you off. What was your answer to your question? History. Where would you go?
I would go. Again, this is coming from a perspective where I don't know enough about it, but I think
It says
just
a lot
on
about
the
you,
spot.
this answer as well.
Yeah, I know. It's really person defining. Maybe like the 20s. I just feel like that was good.
The 1920s.
Yeah.
The cocaine wars of Sydney.
Well, I don't know if I'd be in Australia. You know, like,
Wow. All right. New York.
does the time machine travel
Yeah,
internationally? It
Well,
doesn't-
I've made this shit up, so yeah,
Yeah.
you can go anywhere.
Well, I think I mean, sounds real basic of me now, but I just feel like that Gatsby style would be a lot of fun. You know, I probably wouldn't have the money that they had.
No,
you know,
you'd be
that's why they
fucked.
had the life they had because they were rich. You know, so
Yeah.
also if the time machine could just give me some fat stacks.
Yeah. All right, you get some fat sacks. So you'd go early 1920s before the crash, obviously, in 29.
Before.
Yeah.
Before the crash.
So like 21, 22.
Well, it seems like a good time. Yeah.
Interesting. So you like all that, the tuxedos, the cocktails,
Yeah.
the ballrooms.
Yeah.
Do you do much of that in real life?
Not at all. None. Yeah.
because you rocked up in a tracksuit.
Mm. Mm.
You're very chill.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. No, I just like the idea of it. I didn't. Look, I don't know. This is a funny place too, where Australia's got like a lot of tall poppy. Where if I were to wear anything like a tuxedo, just just imagine if you and I just decided to go for a drink this afternoon, and we're like, you know what? There's no occasion, but we should dress up.
Mm.
And we wore a suit down on Sydney Road, and we just wandered into the Green Man's Arms or the retreat. I don't know. Like it'd probably fly because it's the inner north, but imagine going anywhere.
They probably think I couldn't marry my wife, so I left and we fucked off.
Yeah. That maybe. It's just do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like I feel like probably not in the inner north. That's a bad example, but like in Australia, if you do anything a little bit different like that, it's just like damn, tear that person down.
Do you think we have tall poppy syndrome? Do you reckon it's a thing?
The worst.
I thought it was a characteristic that's inherent and innate of a human being.
Nah, I think it's Australia.
It's jealousy. Like, haven't you heard that famous quote? Whenever someone does something successful, a little part of me dies.
Yeah, I haven't heard that quote, but
You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was like human nature
to compare yourself to others.
Yeah, to have tall poppy syndrome, but
I'm sure it is. But I do think this country really leans hard into it. Like if you say,
whereas in America, they applaud you, right? Like
and that's the other end of the scale.
You go get it.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. And to us, that's cringy because it is. It's just like, oh, shut up. Like, oh god, I'm so proud of you, and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Over here, I'd say back in 2004, I had a joke. Where I was like, I gave up smoking. And the audience would be like, yeah, and? Whereas in America, I went to America in 20...
Applause.
And you get an applause break.
It's like when you say, I'm getting engaged, I'm getting married, I had a baby. Yeah,
applause break. But that's America.
Yeah.
So, going back to Sunshine Coast,
Mm.
tell me about it. Like, it's a
funny place. Like, I definitely feel like I didn't fit in there because it's sort of it's a bit of surf culture. It's like pretty bogan. It's pretty it's like heavy drinking culture. Like the thing to do on the weekend is to drink, watch a bit of footy, go for a surf. And I'm not a very good surfer. Like I can surf, but I'm not very good at it. Certainly can't play footy. And well, I still have the drinking, but
you're a good drinker.
I know how to drink. The Queensland kids just taught me how to drink.
Whenever you see a middle-aged man on a push bike hating it, he's a serious drinker.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't hate the push bike. I like the push bike.
You do?
Yeah. I feel like it counts as exercise, so you don't have to...
Two birds.
Yeah. It's transport and exercise. But yeah, the Sunny Coast it's an interesting place. Not really. I don't think I'd ever live there again. I know I wouldn't live there again. It's like...
You like the style of Melbourne.
I like the style of Melbourne. I just like that I can walk down the street and not bump into someone I went to high school with, had nothing in common with, but feel this weird obligation to be like, how you been?
Shit.
Yeah, how you been, man? Like, it's just like, oh yeah, what's going on? Like, oh yeah, Mrs. Kids. And I'm like, I want to kill myself, like just.
Did you ever fit in to Townsville? Oh, not Townsville, Sunshine Coast. Did you ever belong there, or was it always against swimming upstream, living there?
No, I never felt comfortable going out. Like, I would have never felt comfortable being out and about. Like in a bar, like, cause it's a place too. Like I'm a small person, and like there was a lot of fights. I remember like going out in high school, like to parties. There wasn't a party there. There wasn't a fight. I'm sure there was, but like there was very few parties where you go out where there wasn't a fight, and you're like, I was always scared of getting like sideswiped or like someone didn't like you, so they'd just fight you at a party, And then like that sort of carried over a bit into the early days of like going out night clubbing, because there was only one club because it's pretty small back then. It's probably, I think it's a bit bigger now, but I don't know. So I never felt comfortable going out. But in saying that, from a fitting in perspective, like you find your place. Like I played a lot of soccer, so you'd hang out with your soccer friends and.
Yeah. Did you ever have a fight?
Never. I've never been in a fight. No, I would avoid them like the plague. Yeah. I'm terrified of fights.
Yeah, me too.
Have you been in one?
I think once I threw a punch and then I ran away.
How old were you?
Young, year 7.
Oh, that's. Yeah. I feel like, maybe I was in a school fight, but primary school, definitely not high school. I feel like when you're an adult, like.
Oh, but does brothers count? Because my brother bashed me and I bashed him.
Yeah.
It's different.
That's the same. I got the same as that. Yeah.
That's loving fights.
That's fine.
Like corkers.
You could be watching TV together next to each other within the hour. That's not a real fight.
Yeah.
You don't really want to kill them. Maybe in that moment.
At the time.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the Sunny Coast in a nutshell. I don't. It's one of those places where you go back to. I go back there once a year, Christmas time to see my folks, and I've got a couple of friends that I still keep in contact with, and it's nice. But every year you're like, all right, let's give
Do you
me.
do a gig there when you go back?
I did last time.
What's the gig in Sunshine Coast?
Well, it's a funny one. I was catching up with like some old boys that I used to work with, and they're a great bunch of like just good Queensland old boys. Love drinking, great stories, great jokes. Like
What job were they doing?
the job I do now. Job I
Okay.
do now in the gaming industry. Yeah, yeah. And so I worked with them when I worked up in Queensland, and then I came down here 4 years ago, and we still keep in contact. And once a year we go out and we just have like a long lunch, and I think like, and I've been told by people down here like I can drink quite well, and I'm a bit of a power drinker. But then you get with these guys, and it's just another level, you know. Like it's heavy drinking. So we caught up, I don't know, a few days before Christmas last year, and someone bought some cookies, like some weed cookies. So we had some weed cookies, having like a long lunch, and then we wandered. It was in Noosa, and we wandered into the Koala Bar. It's like a backpacker bar there, and Ben Knight was there, and he was hosting like an open mic comedy night. I know, and I was like,
That's
this was
random.
like 10 hours into the session, and I'd had some cookies, I'd had so many beers, and Nighty's like, jump up, and then all my mates, like these old boy mates of mine, are like, well, we've never seen you do comedy, you got to get up, and I'm like, I really couldn't get out of it, you know. I didn't want to, obviously, because it's the worst recipe for a pre-gig is to be that obliterated. But I did.
Yeah,
and
like the sharpest tool you're going to use is your tongue, and you've just smashed it with like 10 beers and weed cookies.
yeah, maybe more. Yeah.
It's
So
a blunt instrument.
yeah. But the weed kept me sort of in the room. You know how like weed can sort of center you a little bit, and
No
like
freak out or paranoia.
no freak out, well,
That's good.
because the alcohol cancelled that part out of
Counted,
it.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was it. There was maybe 20 people there. It was at a hostel bar. It went better than I would have thought before going in, but it wasn't what I'd call a good gig. No.
How did you open by saying, "Hey, look, I'm fucked"?
Yeah, I got
Yeah, that got a laugh, and then you
yeah.
went from there.
yeah, and I think
Yeah, good to acknowledge it, because you've probably pissed your pants, and they're like, "This guy's fucked."
yeah, absolutely. And Ben, I was like to Ben, I was like, I can't, man. I'm honestly too drunk. And he was like, who
Ben
gives a
would've
shit?
loved
And
it,
he was
yeah.
just like, I'll just tell him. He was just like, I'll tell him, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember like I don't like if I'm gonna before I do a set, I like in my head that day and in like verbally I'll say it in my apartment what I'm gonna say that night. And
Yeah.
like I didn't have the opportunity to do that. So the most recent set that I'd been doing was like all about, you know, living in Melbourne through a pandemic, this and that and the other. And I was like, the only material I can recall is sort of Melbourne based.
Yeah.
I remember said that to Ben, he's like, whatever, man. Like no one cares. Like I'll tell him you're from Melbourne and I'll tell him you're shit faced drunk. You know, I had a lot of demands from the MC for someone who just walked in, you know.
Yeah. Is this recent?
This was the Christmas time. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then
Is
we
that
all
a good gig?
it was an open mic at Christmas time on the sunny coast, so no, it wasn't
No.
a good gig.
Okay.
No.
All right, so it's not worth mentioning.
No,
Alright.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we have. You know, it's at Koala
Don't.
Bar. It's at Koala Bar. I think it was a Tuesday night. Get out there and watch it.
Okay, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. How old are you now?
I am 33 years old. No, I'm 33 on Sunday. I'm 32
Oh,
years
you're,
old for 2
you're
days.
still you're relatively young. Yeah. Because I was like going to ask you, you went out with your mates and drink. I can't do heavy drinking anymore.
Yeah.
Like those days are gone.
We
man.
talked a bit about this in Kerrang while
Did
we
we?
were drinking quite heavily, actually.
We were.
Because we
yeah.
smoked the weed. That's why.
right. Yeah, we had a joint.
I feel like,
That wasn't a big session though. That wrapped up at like 2 a.m.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a big session, though, to me.
Okay, I thought you were like Chris Franklin sessions. Like
Oh, what's
I remember
Chris Franklin do?
Chris Franklin. Oh, well, he grabbed me at a bar one night at like 1 a.m. He's like, "Hey, do you want to have a big one?" And I'm like, "Fuck, we are." He goes,
Isn't
"I
it
mean,
already?
like big one." I'm like, "What's that mean?" He goes, "We keep going." Like the next day, and ended up at the WA casino. I don't know.
Just on alcohol?
Like casino? I think so, somewhere. Just alcohol, yeah.
Wow,
It's heavy, man.
that's hard.
Takes days and days to pull up now. I don't know why it takes longer to recover, but I think
Yeah.
it's harder for your body to just organize shit.
I mean, I'm sure there's a
Maybe you're like a spring when you're younger. Just bounce back.
yeah. I guess your liver just processes it better and just just gets rid of it the next day. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely takes its toll. 2 a.m. for me is a huge night now.
Yeah.
It's like that night in Kerrang. I remember waking up the next day like Jared had to wake me up in the hostel or the pub room, and I was like, damn, I'm like almost too dusty to drive. But
Yeah, you're all right though.
yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
we? Is that with you where we stopped off at probably the single most best fucking vanilla slice I've ever had?
Well, they claimed that they were the best in Victoria, and
Yeah, it's
not
good, man.
bad.
Because
Yeah.
last week I went to Sorrento and tried their vanilla slice because their vanilla slice is rated as one of the best in Victoria.
Really.
But it wasn't as good as this place. And I forget where we were.
Yeah, I remember. It was Bridgewater.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, it was Bridgewater Bakery.
Bridgewater Bakery, that's it.
Yeah.
Near the Loddon River.
Yeah, they water ski on the river.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
That vanilla slice is next level.
It's good. It's I don't really eat sweets or desserts, but obviously I had to because we were there, and they
Oh,
had this
yeah, when in
rep.
Rome.
Yeah,
Fuck,
yeah.
you can't say no.
No, but I did it on the hangover day. I didn't do it the day on the way in because we should mention we did it on the way in and on the way out. Back to back vanilla slices for you.
Yes, it was. Well, I like to indulge. What's my mantra? Yeah, excess in moderation.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Doug Stanhope, sorry.
I love Doug Stanhope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he says, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's good. So now I'm like in a period of abstinence, like no alcohol. I haven't had a drop for like 2.5 weeks.
Wow.
So I'll probably leave it for another couple of months.
Why? Just makes you feel better.
Yeah, just I think flows. Like if you're gonna like I just went through summer, which was a big period of drinking.
Yeah.
And, hanging out at bars and doing gigs, and then afterwards, because it's summer, you stick around. You
Yeah.
have a couple of beers, and I thought, well, it's time now, so I'll give it up.
Yeah.
And then get ready for comedy festival, because your last thing you want to do is have 3-4 pints every night at the festival.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, in the beginning of my career, it's fun, but what are you really gonna learn? I think after 10 years of doing stand up, and you're working, gigging, smashing beer, going home, sleeping, hungover, doing the same set the next night, how are you gonna learn?
Yeah. I know what
I'm
you
not
mean.
knocking it.
No, I know what you
I
mean.
think it's-
I definitely still have a lot of that ahead of me, but I
Yeah.
know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's great fun. I'm not preaching. I'm just saying I'm preaching to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm-
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling myself off. Like
That's fair.
enough. Pull the pin. So I tend to do that. Like I go hard for a little bit and then I go off it.
and that's the best way to drink. I often say to a friend of mine, I'm just like, when it comes to drinking, you got to be all in or all out, because if you try to dabble, like if you try to go once every couple of weeks, I'll have a bit of a sesh. The hangover's so bad. So, but when you're drinking all the time, like 3 or 4 nights a week, then your body's kind of just acclimatizes to this, like it handles hangovers far
does.
better.
Yeah.
Way better. So you got to be all in or all out.
But that's just me. I mean, that's my addictive personality. So
Yeah.
I'm on top of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Not on top of it, no, but I've got that addictive personality.
I'm finding it interesting that I ask a lot of comedians and they tell me, yeah, they've got an addictive personality. I wonder if it's something inherent in stand-ups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's gotta be, because like you can't just like bring yourself to get on a tram when it's raining to go to the other side of the city when you know there's going to be a maximum of 5 punters there, and you know you're going to have to wait 2 hours to get on to do this shit gig, and then like unless you're addicted, no one's doing that. Like you just wouldn't do it. It's the most horrible Tuesday night of your life.
Yeah. Have you ever self-analyzed that? What do we do? Why do you do it? Are you fundamentally doing it because you just need that buzz, or are you doing it because I want to get better at stand-up?
I want to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, but the underlying reason is if it wasn't giving you that shot in the arm of adrenaline and joy,
Yeah.
would you go back? Like, I don't know. I guess so.
Probably.
I mean, I remember my first gig. I cried,
Damn.
and I walked home from
Damn.
Richmond,
To where? Here.
Coburg. Yeah, Mum and Dad lived in Coburg when I was 25.
You walked from Richmond to Coburg.
That's not a long walk.
That's
It's
a long walk.
hour and 40, almost 2 hours.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, something like that. And and then I went back to do stand up, and I went, ugh, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Why am I going back? Because I hated it.
Really?
But I hated the experience. No one laughed except for one. One lady laughed at one joke in my first ever gig, and she laughed hard.
Damn.
Like fucking hard, and it just
That was it?
got me going. I was like, fuck.
That
That
bitch.
was, but I cried on the way home because no one laughed. But I remembered it was like the cherry, the save,
Yeah.
like the light at the end of the tunnel was like, yeah, but you made that bitch laugh
Yeah.
hard, man.
Yeah. That's
So I was like,
damn right.
huh, do I want to do stand up because, yeah, I like making people laugh, or do I want to do stand up because it just gives me the chemical release of dopamine that I need to
Yeah.
feel normal and as and a functioning member of society? I know I'm going too deep,
Which
but
one do you think it is though?
I think it's the latter. I think it's the dopamine, the
Yeah.
chemicals, and it's just great that it's a positive influence in society, and then I can play a valid role in society.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some creeps like carjacking. That's their buzz.
Yeah.
Others like breaking into people's homes. That they're just addicted to it. Others like putting all their money into pokies.
Yeah.
That's their dopamine. I mean, I work in pokies. I see the dopamine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen people win $1,000 and then they give it all back because they're not addicted to the money. They're addicted to the spin cycle of what
sound.
could come.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to eventuate. And that's the joy I get from stand-up. When you go to a gig like Kerrang, you're like, what the fuck are we in for? What's this going to be? Is it going to be a good setup? Is it going to be good? Should we bunch them all up? Are they going to be shit? Is it going to be packed? Or are the acoustics going to be good? Or is it going to be good setup?
That's
Will my opening joke work? Do they know Brunswick? And you catch yourself in the car.
Oh,
going,
yeah.
Do they have electricity? Yeah, they do, man. You're right.
Yeah, I had a lot of those thoughts at that particular, but like you have them for every gig too. Like I remember going to the Bergie one night, and the two times before that, it was the winter time, and no one was there. And I was just like, I was busy doing shit that day, and I didn't really get a chance to prep properly. I was like, it doesn't matter, it's a fucking Bergie. Like, there'll be 3 people there. And then it was just like packed out. It was just packed out. Dilruck was there. Like, there was all these big people there. And I'm like,
This is when he was fat, so you just called him big. Yeah.
it's not.
That fat guy was there. Yeah.
Not at all. But yeah, it was, and then I just remember being like, damn, like it's always when you think it'll be something, it's almost always the opposite.
Yeah.
And that's the same. Like Kerrang, I remember when we got there, we had so much time to spare. I went for a walk. I was on the phone to my mum, and she was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, it's like 3.5 hours." And she was like, "No one's gonna laugh at your shit. Like, no one's gonna laugh at your city shit." And then I started to get panicky. I was like, "It's true. Like, what? They're gonna be like old people here. Like, why would young people live here? And I can't relate to old people. Like, this was gonna be horrible." And then it's good.
Do your parents understand what you do? I'm just curious.
Nah.
They don't. That's interesting. 'Cause
Nah.
my parents, I put my parents' lack of understanding down to the fact that they're immigrants from another country. They don't really understand the language.
Yeah.
So when I was on Nova for 5 years, my mum would tune in but not understand anything.
Yeah.
Really? She'd be like, oh, yeah, whatever. But then again, she's got an amazing ability to understand Bold and the Beautiful. Her English is perfect between 4:30 and 5. Then it goes to shit. Especially when I have to call Origin Energy to change her plan to look for a cheaper rate. She's got no idea. But, yeah, I think I always put it down to she couldn't understand why I left a big job.
Yeah.
Like I was pretty much training to be a buyer for Coles Myer.
Yep.
I was an assistant to a buyer.
Okay.
In head office, and it was a good paying job.
Yeah.
But as you're well aware, you're a statue, and everyone in there is a statue. It's not really them.
No.
They're not who they appear to be. They're not. You don't see the real. I take that for granted in stand up. I really genuinely do take that for granted. Every time I go to a gig, the person I see on stage, the person I hang out with off stage is that person. They're expressing themselves. I know this sounds fucking gay for the lack of a better word. It's 20. I do apologize, but you see people for who they are.
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic.
It is.
And I love that so much. And people just divulge their inner personal lives.
Yeah.
Working in an office was just so stale. Everyone had their shirts tucked in. There was this facade, this stony washed look over their face. You didn't know who the fuck they were, and you worked alongside them for a year punching in data on a keyboard, and you still didn't know who the fuck they were, what they really liked, what they were like. So
I feel you. I think and that's the best thing about stand up is when you go, unless you're one of the few people who work in an industry, in a job that you are like truly put on this earth for, passionate about, which like I don't think that's a lot of people. I think, that's probably maybe 10% of people. Then if you're in the other 90%, then you just go to this place and you hang out with people that you would never ever hang out with in your real life,
Absolutely.
and you spend the most time with them.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird thing to do, like the workplace, and like you said, you have to be this super rigid version of yourself, and I think it's getting better now. Like I've noticed in my day job, like you give them a bit more of yourself, and people love it, because you're different. Like you're just like you be a bit more weird, and they're like, "Damn, he's a bit weird," like.
Yeah, that would freak people out.
It does, yeah, it freaks people out. People don't understand that I do comedy. They're just like, it's just, and like these are, I guess for lack of a better word, conventional people, and they're just like, ask very basic questions like, do you think about what you're going to say before you get up there, or do you just go up there and talk? And I'm like, fuck, is that a serious question? Like, but yeah, these people are just like they're just baffled by it. They're just like, what a crazy thing to do, and I'm like, but then I spend all my evenings with comics, and it's like it's the normalest thing in the world to do. It's the only normal thing to do,
Yeah, for all those reasons we said, I think it's a very normal thing to do. What baffles me, what freaks me out is I think we're normal. We've got normal hobbies. We're pursuing them. It's a noble endeavor. At the end of the day, you're getting your adrenaline or you're getting your dopamine. You're also making people laugh.
Yeah.
And I have had, and I'm sure you have as well. You've had people come up to you and say, "Oh, that was great. Thank you so much." You don't know them. You've never met them. You'll never see them again. But they just give you something, and you're like, that is the cherry on a shitty day that I had, and that makes it feel good. So yeah, and another reason though I felt like, fuck, maybe I am pretty normal and not fucked up. I saw this wild fucking documentary on mercenaries. These are people that love war. They just fucking love war. They don't care who they fight for, whoever gives them the most money. So these guys are getting rounded up, heading towards Ukraine to fight for Ukraine. Half of them for a just cause. The other half are getting paid a lot of money from the Ukrainian government. And it's like, this is wild shit, man.
It's insane. Like it's...
And they're in it for... I'm watching this documentary and I'm watching these soldiers speak. And if you closed your eyes, I swear you'd think they're talking about stand-up.
Really?
Well, they're just going, yeah, it's the thrill, it's the buzz, it's not knowing what's going to happen next, that you could die at any time. That's us on stage.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen next. The next bit could die. We don't know. We could get heckled, and it was very psychologically similar. Obviously, I'm just trying to draw some parallel. I found it interesting from that perspective.
Yeah. I mean...
And I don't get it. Like, that is fucking wild, man. That's your actual life you're putting on the line. It's not even for a cause that you believe in. It's just for dollars.
It's way more badass than stand-up. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally.
It's way... but yeah, it is. It's...
How do you do you put yourself out on Facebook Marketplace?
I was going to say, is there a buy, swap, and sell
Soldier
for...
Bay, eBay for soldiers? I don't know, like, will work for, I don't know, $5,000 a month. I'll do X amount of kills.
Imagine if that was the...
I'll do part-time. Did you get
commodity.
in? Nah, he knocked off.
That was the commodity. Like, you've got to guarantee an amount of bodies per week or per month. Otherwise, you don't get your paycheck,
Yeah.
Damn.
It's fucking nuts.
Probably isn't.
Yeah, I think the older I'm getting, the more, like... I don't know what you're like at 33. When I was 33, I was still wild. I had a lot of ambition, but now I'm like just so fucking... I watch the news for 10 minutes and I'm like, man, I've got the best fucking life.
Yeah.
I have a great life. I'm so... Like, I can go visit my mum anytime. There's no... bombs aren't falling on my head, even though I got swooped by a fucking magpie at Brunswick Pools this morning.
Damn.
That's the worst thing that I get.
And that is a real first world problem, right? Like that is.
That's it.
Oof.
So I'm happy, man.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm the same. I think. Yeah, I'm not as ambitious, nowhere near as ambitious as I think I was. Like I'm tired. I don't care. I think COVID's done that. I was like, before
Yeah, I'm
COVID, I was like, you
tired.
just got to get more spots. You got to get better at comedy. You got to, and I was just like, and now I'm just like, you'll get
Well, let's work it out. How many spots a week are you doing?
right now 4.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, pre-COVID it was like 6 or 7. So
That's all right for Melbourne. I'm talking to Melbourne circle. Like a couple of my mates in UK listen, and well, yeah, that's UK. You should be doing around 13, 14.
yeah,
But yeah, Melbourne is good for 4.
damn.
So
And
I think it's
it's
good.
all scale, right? Like you talk to people in Brisbane, and like when I did that Sunny Coast gig, there was other comics there, and we were having a chat, and they were like, "Yeah, you do it like once. Sometimes on a good week, you get it twice, but you
Ooh,
probably got to drive
wow.
to Brizzy," and you're like, "Damn," because it's just anything. It's the commodity thing. It takes more gigs to get better, so it's like it's just going to slow down, I guess, your progression of.
Do you know enough about the Brisbane? Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's all right. I was pretty much done. No, I don't know much at all about the Brisbane scene because I got down here. I didn't do comedy before I came down. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I started down here. So I've done a couple of gigs in Brizzy. Goundry hooked me up and we just happened to both be there at the same time. But I don't know any bookers or anything like that. Yeah. Or where the regular gigs are. I know the Pato. Yeah.
I've
Anyway.
heard of that.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
getting better though.
I'm
I was-
sure.
I
Yeah.
was chatting to another comic about how it's not really an underground form of entertainment like it was when I
Not at all.
started stand up. I think it's like Netflix, globalization of culture. People are being exposed to stand up a lot more.
Yeah.
Every second person. Oh, I know someone who's doing stand up.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If someone finds out you do stand up, they're like, "Do you know my friend? Do you know my friend?" Everyone knows someone that's doing stand up. There's a lot of improv too that sort of has a bit of a crossover in Melbourne too, I find. Like a lot of people I talk to around Fitzroy, Brunswick, or wherever, and they'll be like, "Oh, I know someone," and I'm like, "Oh, usually, I feel like I know a decent portion of the Melbourne comedy scene. So usually when someone says I know someone, I'm like, "Oh, tell me who they are," but more often lately, I'm like, "I've never heard of that person," and I'm sure they've heard of me. No, I'm kidding. They definitely haven't.
How long have you been gigging for now?
March 19. So it's sort of
Oh, it was your first gig 2019.
yeah,
Oh, fuck. So you're very much a baby.
very much yeah.
But you take COVID out of it, and you've only been going like 2 weeks.
Did this with Lee last night. I was like, yeah, I guess 3 years, but minus a year at least, And
So,
then all
yeah,
there was
2.
sort of those weird in between times where there wasn't much comedy on, So
How-
yeah,
How much have you got? How much material have you got now? If I was to, you're on a stage, 150 people, nice purpose-built club. I could probably stretch to 50 minutes before they're like, all right, we've had enough, we're going. What could you do?
I could do comfortably half an hour, but I would hate a fair bit of it because a lot of it's stuff because
Yeah.
it's new. Like, because I'm new, so it's like a lot of that stuff that I did when I was new, and I hate it. Like we talked about this at the Kerrang gig afterwards. It's like when you're in that early stage, all you want is to get a laugh, and so like there's a lot of material about moving from Queensland to Victoria and Melbourne especially, and it's hacky, it's just shit, but it in it would get a laugh sometimes, most of the time, and yeah, so it's like I could do 35, but I wouldn't love it. I could do 15, and I'd be pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times have you been up on stage, delivered a joke, and the voice in your head's going, hate that fucking joke, dude?
Nah, the ego takes over there, and if it laughs, I don't give a shit. On
Yeah.
stage, it's retrospectively that I'm like, oh, he sounds
Right.
such a douche,
Yeah.
I found smoking weed ahead of gigs sort of helps with that because it sort of brings out more who I think I actually am, as opposed to like this guy who's just trying to make love. Like, oh, I'm just got down from Queensland. Oh, it's different down here in Victoria.
Yeah, right. So you can smoke a joint before a gig.
I've only done it a few times, but I found I'm more present when I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
I check out. I'm a polar opposite, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm gone.
Wow.
Yeah, I go inwards. I don't want to talk. I'm happy, content, but I go in.
Yeah.
Even with like other drugs, I go in. Everyone's like, if you want me to be the life of the party, don't give me a drink, don't give me anything.
Yeah.
Just let me be like this.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm the exact opposite. Yeah. I'm a boring ass sober person. Yeah, that's because you do a bit of bit of the mushrooms, like you do a bit of experimental stuff, right?
A couple of times a year, that's it.
Yeah, and that's more therapeutic than recreational, right?
Yeah, I don't take a lot. If mushrooms were a swimming pool, I go in up to my knees.
Yeah,
I really like. I can snap out. If a cop tapped me on the shoulder while I'm walking,
you could be normal.
I could be normal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't like to go too hard. I
that's
just,
fair.
I'll never do DMT. I don't want to push through, see aliens.
Really, like not even if you're like terminally ill, like tomorrow.
Oh, if I'm terminally ill, yeah, I
Yeah.
want to jump out of a plane and do that V thing near rocks.
Oh, like those Red Bull.
Yeah, those fuckers.
Wingsuit things.
I'm gonna do that with
Yeah.
with a bag, a bell bag,
A bell bag.
a bell like cancer of bells.
Oh,
I don't know,
right,
like
right.
just everything. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it.
fair.
I could do that, yeah, because then I'm like, well, I'm checking out.
Yeah. I still think you'd have trouble getting out of the plane, even if you're going to die the next week, day, whatever. I just feel
Absolutely.
like, man, like that leap. Woof.
You can't. Have you played VR?
Nah.
See, I played virtual reality. This game called Walk the Plank. You put on a headset. All of a sudden, you're in an elevator. You press this button. The elevator goes up. The doors open, and you're at the top of a skyscraper.
Oh.
You look down. The cars are like the size of ants, and then there's this wooden plank, and you take a step onto it, and you hear the creaking noise of the plank of wood, and you've got to walk the plank. Now, I started laughing, and everyone who did that started laughing. My mum dropped to the kitchen floor
I just hugged it.
and stuck like a fucking gecko, just got
Yeah.
glued to the kitchen floor. And we ripped it off her head. Everyone else who was more aware of technology
Yeah.
that understood what was happening laughed. And the reason I worked out the reason why you were laughing was because you're aware of the survival instinct of your brain saying, don't take a step, you'll die.
Yeah.
And the funny part of your brain going, it's VR. And those
Doesn't
two
matter.
worlds where they meet resulted in a laugh. And you're like, this is ridiculous.
That is funny.
I know it's stupid, but I can't take a step.
Damn.
And
so do you walk out and then jump off, or like you just got to walk like from a building to another building or something?
yeah, so you walk the plank, and then if you take a step off to the side, you fall, and everything starts rushing
Wow.
up. And I instinctively put your arms up, and
Yeah.
you lose balance. And yeah, my brother was there to just sort of support me, just
Wow.
like, oh fuck, stand up, dickhead.
Damn.
Yeah.
Did you use that same headset? Probably not when the family were around, but have you ever watched porn on VR?
No, but my cousin has.
Yeah,
he
what
reckons it's freaky. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll make that transition.
I don't
man.
think so either. Yeah.
It's like there's two things I won't do. I won't watch VR porn,
Mm.
and I won't get a steering wheel for my PS4 to play Formula One.
Everything else in this world is on the table.
Yeah, only because the guy who watches VR porn is the same guy that told me to get a Formula One steering wheel,
Yeah.
and he's a bald cousin with a ponytail.
Fair.
That's
And you're a 46-year-old dude who lives alone. You know, you're going. It's a slippery slope, man.
Then the rat tail comes out. You're like, Catsy, what's going on back there? I can't do
God. What a transition.
it. Exactly.
Um,
Oh, fuck, you got a few tats, man. Are you getting more and more that I see ya?
I got one yesterday. This one here, I got it yesterday.
It does look like a freshie.
It does. It's seeping.
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I got to a point in my life where my parents were so anti-tattoo that I was just so scared of it, or just it was just ingrained in me to not get them. And then I got to I don't know, like late 20s, early 30s, and I was like, hey. You're in charge. You don't have to listen to them.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've always wanted, and I was like, by this point in my life, like, I'm through wanting. Who knows? Like, I'll probably not think the same way in 10 years, but like, I'm through. I'm glad I didn't get them when I was in my early 20s or like late teens, because I reckon I would have got some shit tattoos. Well, I know I would have got some shit tattoos. But now I'm like, oh well, you still want them. You may as well get them. You know, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't really matter. You know, like it's. Yeah, my philosophy is they can be covered by a sleeve. I probably wouldn't get a neck tattoo.
Dude, in about 30 years or 20 years, you could probably go to Officeworks and get like liquid paper for tattoos.
That's what I'm thinking
It'll
too.
be a shower gel that you wash off.
Yeah,
Like, it's not going to be like you can get my friend. she's covered and she's happy with her tats, but she got them too young. So she's
Yeah.
removing a few of them.
Mm.
And she reckons, yeah, it hurt like fucking hell. But yeah, she removed them. That's fine. But it costs a lot of money now. But it
But
won't.
tattoos used to cost a lot of money too. They still cost a bit, but it's like it'll just become such a normal thing. You know, it'll be like those solar power businesses that just kept popping up when the government was giving out a subsidy. You know, everyone will start doing it. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
you know,
The latest one you got, I could tell it's prominent. Is it? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's a guy kissing a girl
it's a guy kissing a girl.
with 3 stars underneath.
Unsure about the dots.
Are they dots?
They're dots. Yeah.
So it's a guy leaning in, kissing a girl. She's got
Yeah.
long hair. She looks like really swept away in that, like she's happy.
She does, and that's how I kiss, John. And that's the passion I bring to the.
Yeah, I feel it. Is that like, hey, ladies, like, why'd you get that? I like it.
Why did I get that? There is a tattoo artist that I follow on Instagram, and I just like his stuff. And he posted yesterday that he had a cancellation, and I never like a lot of the tattoo artists these days, like in around here, they're always like, no DMs, don't DM me. Don't DM me looking for an appointment. And I honestly don't know how to get an appointment with him.
Wow, are they like just fucking wizards of the Middle Ages? They're just really popular right now. Like,
Yeah.
everyone wants to see them.
I think so. I think it's on trend, you know.
I heard one of my friends got a sleeve done, and he waited like 8 months to get a booking. I'm like, Jesus,
Damn,
dude, that's
it's
like
wild. Hey, yeah. After I told another friend this, he sent me a meme which I will absolutely butcher now, but it was something along the lines of like getting a tattoo 15 years ago was like walk into like a weird bikey sort of joint and like it's like heavy rock music and it's a pretty uncomfortable vibe. Whereas like getting a tattoo now, it's like go and spend 2 hours with someone who's just got back from Berlin and like only does stick and poke and they do the traditional way. And it's just like how that industry has changed quite a bit. And it's like,
it has. I mean, I got my tattoo around 20 years ago, and I got it in a bikey
yeah, I got my first one
at
a bikey one.
at
Yeah.
the back of a bikey shop, and there's something wrong about getting a tattoo at High Point.
At High Point.
Yeah, Celebrity Inc.
So,
Yeah. So there's
how many celebrities are going through that door?
yeah, there's something wrong. It just sounds. I got a tattoo at High Point today. Like, seriously, fuck off.
Damn.
Something wrong with that sentence. I don't know yet what's wrong with it, but there's something not right about it.
No. There's things that you shouldn't get from a shopping centre.
And your other tattoo's interesting as well. It's like, is that the other side? I just noticed it. Is that a bottle of
It's a bottle of wine by a fireplace. There's a candle there, and then there's a cigarette, or well, in my head, it's a joint. And it's just it's
I love that. It's
it's
so
a nice
fucking
setting.
different, man.
Yeah, it's a nice setting. I like that one.
Then you got a crocodile or a T-Rex?
That's a crocodile. Yeah, I don't know why I got that one, and that was another one that was a pretty spontaneous one where I just saw it. I can't remember, maybe on Instagram.
It just came to you and you're like, yeah, I'm
and I was
getting
just like,
it.
I just feel like that'd be fun. Yeah.
That's great. Have you ever been like that on stage? Like, I'm just going to try some shit. I just wrote this 1 second ago.
Oh,
Or are you
a little bit. No, I'm a lot more regimented.
Maybe you should be less regimented.
I think so too. Yeah. I want to be able to get to a point where I can go up there with a set in
An
the
idea.
back of my head, or just a set in the back of my head to fall back on, and just sort of take an idea up and just have a bit of a riff, But I think
so much fun.
I'll bet it is, but it's just a little while away, because I think you got to do it in front of the right audience, because like you can't really do it to 5 people. I don't think. Well, I wouldn't have the confidence to myself, but
Do you reckon hypnotherapy works?
I don't know. I've never tried it.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'd love to speak to a hypnotherapist and tell him, just turn down my fear on stage.
Yeah.
Keep everything else as it is. Just turn down my fear. Let me be comfortable with uncomfortable silences in the room.
Yeah.
Because that a death is preceded by an uncomfortable silence.
Yeah.
And that uncomfortable silence resonates in your mind and causes your editing department to go to shit,
Yeah.
which causes your sentences to be incoherent, which causes the punchline to not make sense, which causes the death.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, if I could embrace the uncomfortable silence and learn to live with it, then could I excel? So how do I turn that off? And that's when I came across maybe hypnotherapy.
You should talk to what's his name? He runs a room down in Elwood Lounge.
Pete
He's an older guy,
Murphy.
Peter Murphy.
Yeah,
He
the
did,
builder.
yeah, he did hypno to get rid of his. He got rid of smoking and he got rid of his fear of public speaking. It
He
was like,
smokes again.
oh, does he? Well, don't go to don't go to hypno. Does he smoke still? He
I
told me
think-
once he was like, he got rid, stopped smoking and it got rid, it crippling public speaking fear and it got him doing comedy. But well, maybe it's 50% of the time it works. It's still doing comedy, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's really funny. Does he actually still smoke?
I think so,
That's
man.
so funny.
I don't want to
Sorry,
don't,
Pete.
Don't quote me on it, but
Actually, you'd be sorry to me, Pete. You let me down there. I was trying to fucking use you as an example.
only because he built my mate's. He built an extension in my mate's place, and he was smoking darts
Oh yeah,
recently.
recently.
But I could be wrong. Sorry, Pete, if you're. Oh, Pete, wait, I don't know. Whatever.
I couldn't figure out YouTube, Pete.
I
He's
like
old.
his room in Elwood.
It's good.
There's not enough rooms down there. Although Joel's got one now on a Friday.
Oh, Joel Temperley. Yeah, I haven't been to that one. I was supposed to do Voltaire tonight. I got bumped. This close to the festival.
What's happening? Is it a showcase?
Nah, it's just Voltaire Friday night. The open mic, and I messaged and I got on, and then they messaged back and they were like, "Sorry, man."
They overbooked.
No, they were just like, "There's so many people dropping in for the festival to do their festival shows."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm not doing a festival show, so that is absolutely fair."
Yeah, fair enough.
The stage time is better put to use to them.
Yeah.
But a good and another good Friday night gig for the person at my level is a great thing, because it's sort of Voltaire's had that for since I've been doing stand up, and it's great. I don't think I can even remember when there's been a bad one. Like they always fill it out. It's a great room. But yeah, to have one down on the south side. I mean, you and I both live north, so it's a little bit further to go. But it's to have that variety is cool.
It's important. It's good to gig everywhere.
Absolutely.
Like
yeah.
Kerrang.
Yeah.
Because it just prepared. Like we went to Kerrang and we're like, fuck, what's gonna work? What's not gonna work? Will they understand references? And just that due process in your mind is preparing you and helping you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's you do. I was going to talk to you about this. Like you do. For your level, you do a lot of shit rooms. Like you do a lot of the entry level rooms. Like you mix it.
Where else can I go?
Yeah, I don't
nothing
know.
Else.
But even when you came back from the UK, like when you first came back, like we didn't really know each other, and you just came down to Dumpster Fire when it was in that Lupine Studios there at Coburg, Brunswick, sort of just at the end of Sydney Road, and you just sat there and watched the whole time. And I think that's when we met, and I was like, what do you like? I knew you were through Evan. Evan was like, oh, that's Johnny. He's he's a great comedian. He's just come back from the UK, and like I want to talk to you about like why did you do that? Like you just used to, and like you did it once in that room in South Melbourne that Andy Moratis used to run. I can't remember what it's called.
South
The George.
Yeah.
The George. Yeah. And you used to come out and hang out and just watch. And I was like, what are you doing?
Well, I think they're the people that go there to watch stand up are just regular people.
Yeah.
So a crowd's a crowd.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So I've been to the lounge too many times. I've been to the, so I thought let's just go around.
Yeah.
And see what people are laughing at. And Lupine Studios was amazing in Coburg. I loved that room.
It was a great room.
It helped me build my mushroom stuff, which
Yeah.
I couldn't do at the Comics Lounge, and I couldn't because it was gonna die a lot. Because
Yeah.
it did die a lot, and Lupine Studios was the perfect room to get it to that level where I could transition it to a mainstream crowd.
Yeah.
I love open mic because it's a workshop. You can panel beat your material. You can throw it away halfway through a setup and then start something else. And
Yeah.
if you've been going for more than 10 years like I have, you sort of don't care about dying in an open mic room. You just laugh it off. The comics laugh and you can just get a buzz out of that and just go, yep, I'm dying, fuck off.
Yeah.
Dying in front of a paid audience is bad because then you have to deal with the promoter.
But do you though? Like I just like I've seen you a few times, and I can't imagine a room with 20 people or more where you would do really bad. Like
It's happened. I've been booed off stage.
Tell me about that.
I was in Bournemouth in the UK.
Yeah.
Stag and Hen Do.
See, that's yeah.
Got booed off there. South London, I got booed off. Lasted 7 minutes. They just didn't like my opening joke. I can't remember what it was. I think I've deleted it forever from my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely. But I don't know. I'll gig. I'd like to gig everywhere.
Yeah.
Really, if I could, I'd like to gig everywhere. Um, and I've put myself out to everywhere.
Yeah. Like you tour Australia, like go to places like Brisbane, or even go like.
Yeah, well, I've done sit down.
Yeah.
I've done the store in Sydney,
Yeah.
but because I can't stay there for extended periods, I just do the main clubs and come back.
Yeah.
But if I don't know, if I won Powerball,
Yep.
I would, pack
Do
a
you-
small backpack and go to Sydney for a month and immerse myself in the circuit.
Yeah.
Because people have said to me, it's a harder crowd in Sydney. It's you can't fuck around as much. You've got to get to the punchline. So I'm like, well, let me find out for myself.
Yeah.
I'd love to experience that firsthand from an embryonic phase. Just go there from just scratch and just tread the open mic. Don't tell anyone. Just go.
Don't be Johnny Katz. Just go and be some dude who wants to get up on stage.
Yeah,
don't,
and
don't
just
be
ask.
the guy with the rep.
Sign up.
Yeah.
Just sign up. Do a gig. Experience that buzz.
Yeah.
Of course, do the store, but I'd experience that side of it, and then go to Brisbane and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, that would be a dream of mine.
Yeah.
Fucking love it, because that's where you really feel a circuit.
Yeah.
Like for example, I was in London for 10 years. I can tell you that central London is a hipster vibe.
Oh,
It's
okay.
ultra left, more power to civil liberties, any sort of material like that, like my mushroom stuff, smoking, doing drugs, those sort of material, that's going to fly.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
So that's like an inner north vibe.
Inner city London.
Yeah.
Like Covent Garden, comedy clubs and all around that area, like just very liberal, civil liberties, all that. Then as you go out, you go into like the Midlands, like Birmingham.
Mhm.
That's pretty much set up and punch, don't fuck around, less whimsical. There's a black circuit in London. The black circuit.
Maybe tell me about that. Yeah.
The black circuit is very set up and punch. Like I remember doing like my South African accent and they just weren't going with it. So then I went back a few weeks later and just did more direct set up and punch, just hit them hard.
Yeah.
And if you can crack them, it's an amazing laugh. They physicalize, they get up out of their chairs, they bang tables, they hoop and cheer and holler. They give you so much love.
That's so sick.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Experience open mic, but I haven't. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've got no time.
Yeah. Fair. How many gigs do you do a week?
3 to 4 I try and do.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 or 4. And hopefully one of them is a 20-minute spot.
Yeah. So you're getting
So
that
you
more
can
quantity.
run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quality is important.
It's well, I think that longer time and that more momentum I think would be beneficial, because it's like you say, like in a 5-minute spot or a 5 to 7 minute spot, if you get them offside, you don't really have enough of a chance to bring them back. Like just
Yeah.
because the clock it'll run out.
It's hard, yeah. I did an experiment when I was in London. I gigged every night for 6 months non-stop.
Yeah.
And the conclusion I came to was, quality over quantity. I found that by gigging every single night, I had to go to certain rooms that were comic heavy. And I started seeing comics do material about in-jokes that only comics would get.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, whoa, that's a fucking no-no, man.
Yeah.
If you start doing that, your career's just, you're on a wrong trajectory.
Yeah.
You really need to be.
You are not playing to the crowd.
Yeah, you're not playing to the crowd. So that's when I realized, all right, quality over quantity. So, but I try and do about 4 for Melbourne, 3 to 4.
Yeah. That's good.
I try to pulse at that.
And one of them will be like a lounge, one of them will be a King's, one of them will be like a longer set.
Yeah, if I can get the lounge, I'd be wrapped. But lounge is not so often. But
yeah.
like every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I'll do a spot at the lounge.
Yeah.
And then Kings. But slowly, yeah, it's tough, man. It's a tough circuit. It's tough. It's a tough circuit to make money from. Like I tell people all the time, like London's not hard. You can get paid as an unknown act.
Yeah.
You can make a living as an unknown act. My agent, who was nothing special in terms of agencies, it was like the Aldi of agencies.
Yeah.
Like, but I shouldn't say that. I don't want to knock him.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Carr was signed to his agency once upon a time.
Damn.
Right? So, you know,
Pop that on the res.
yeah. So, but he had 110 clubs across the UK. So, that's just 110 from my agent.
Yeah.
And then you've got a plethora of other fucking gigs.
Yeah.
So, and no one knows who you are. And that's the way I like it.
Yeah.
No one needs to know who you are. You're just there to do a job. And it really felt like a job, and I loved it.
So you were financially dependent on it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was my job.
Yeah.
That's why I went. Because
Yeah.
I just wanted to work and not worry about a day job.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be a comic. Like I used to watch Seinfeld,
Yeah.
and I used to get a buzz out of Jerry where he was going to perform. Like he was in Dallas that week on the show.
Yeah.
Little stupid side script notes, and he'd pack a bag and he'd be on the plane and he'd go to a gig. He'd be away for a weekend. And that's what I was attracted to. Like, I wanted to be that.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a suitcase ready on Friday night or Friday morning and then leave. Take a train to a gig and stay over,
Yeah.
UK acts take that for granted. They're very lucky. They've got a wonderful circuit and they should really embrace it. Well, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, that made them realize how beautiful their circuit is.
Well, it's just got that advantage of population density and just a small, like physically small country.
Well, you nailed it. That's it.
Yeah.
60 million.
Yeah. In a very small space.
60 million in a very small space that can fit inside Victoria.
Mm.
So it's fucking awesome. And if you want to go to the furthest degree of professionalism, I came across comics in the UK that moved to Birmingham, which is the Midlands, which is in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
Bought a car. Specifically bought a Yaris because it was the lowest in
Fuel.
petrol.
Yeah.
And they were basically, if you look at a map, 2.5 to 3 hours away from every single gig accessible in England, not
Yeah.
Scotland.
Damn.
So from the Midlands, they could go to Manchester and back, Liverpool and back,
Yeah.
Hull and back, maybe Newcastle and back, down to Norwich and
Yeah.
back, Kent and back, and Devon.
Yeah.
And maybe even as far as Truro for whatever. Oh, that's too far. But yeah, you see what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So-
everything's within touching distance.
That's
Yeah.
what comics would do.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah.
What a great commitment to the lifestyle is to move to a place purely because it's centralized for the thing you want to do. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I was single and 30, so I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I'll be working till I'm 70. So I'm 30. Just go now.
Yeah.
Just go now, get it out of your system, see if you can do it.
Is it out of your system?
Yeah, I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
I want to live here.
Why? Why do you want to live here?
Well, I've got roots, family, friends.
Yeah.
The Mornington Peninsula, which is special.
Yeah.
The coastline down there. Blue skies.
Yeah, I'll bet.
We take them for granted.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. Swimming in the ocean.
Lifestyle.
The great outdoors. Dare I say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. The sad thing is, London, you miss out on all the gigs. And I remember being like a Friday night and it was like, oh, my gig just got cancelled. So me and my partner will go, oh, let's just jump online and we just do it was like, oh, $40 to Barcelona. Let's go. And within an hour, we're at the airport and we're in Barcelona 2 hours later. You can't do that here. That'll get you to Echuca.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah. And that's
That's what Europe has to offer the UK. That's amazing.
it's my brother. He's moving back next week. His wife. They live here. They live in Fitzroy. Him and his wife. She's English, and they're moving back. She's moving back tomorrow or Sunday, and then he's moving back in 2 weeks' time. And they're going to live in Bristol. And
Bristol's great.
yeah.
They reminded me of Melbourne, man.
Is that right?
Yeah, Bristol's great.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like their proximity to everything, but they always wanted to go and live in Spain because of Brexit. They can't because the whole
Yeah.
Brexit thing. So yeah, it's sort of a bummer. That's like the worst time to to be a UK citizen because you don't get that access to Europe on a permanent basis, obviously. But yeah, like you said, it's from a holiday perspective, and I think that's cool too. Like where we can go, like you say, to Echuca in that 2 hour period that they can go to Barcelona, and it's like you go to Echuca, you'll see different kinds of folk, but the cuisine's the same. Like everything's the same. Like you're in the same country. Like you're in Australia.
That's even worse. It's like taking a time machine.
Well, that's the thing. Not in a good way. Yeah. It's different, but not in a good way. Yeah. You go to Spain.
Are you doing anything over the festival, man? I've got to wrap this up. I've got to go get a CT scan on my fucking back.
I wish you luck with that, man. I'm not doing any shows. I'm gonna just get around and do as many spots as I can.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Exford.
I'm gonna do the Exford.
Let's plug the Exford. Man.
All right, plug the Exford.
I don't know when I'm gonna release this. Fuck. I think I'm gonna release this in a few weeks.
All right.
Damn it. I think we're gonna miss out. But if we haven't, and if you're watching this and the festival is still on, go to the Exford Bear Pit up late. You see pro comics coming down and comics from overseas coming down doing 10 minutes in what's aptly called a bear pit because the crowd's rowdy, drunk, and if you're not funny, they fucking let you know about it. Great.
It's a
and
it's
open
a hell of a time.
micers get in there. It's like Gladiator.
It is. It's this weird thing where it's like the spots are like they're gold. The open micers they get there at 6 p.m. and they just hang out there waiting for yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they hang out there.
6.
Which is how do I know that? I am one.
Starts at 11 p.m.
I know. Yeah.
Would you wait at 6 p.m. for a spot?
I wouldn't. No.
Okay. But
I mean, I would because I like to drink. So maybe I would sit there and drink beers and not get too carried away. But maybe like that could be a fun night. Just like go and hang out at the Exford because it's a pretty fun like in and out crowd. Like it's a cool pub.
Oh, it's a
cool
lot of
shit
fun.
pub. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not working the next day.
Yeah.
I love it.
Before you go, what are you doing for the festival? You said you were getting ready.
I'm doing same as you, support spots, and I'm doing a spot at Kings of Comedy.
You're doing it, yeah.
A couple of shows, so yeah.
Nice. What's it called?
Visceral. But unfortunately, by the time it says those shows will be
They'll be gone. Yeah.
Gone.
Are you selling tickets all right?
Not really.
All right, well, I'll come. You tell me.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I'll come watch. Yeah. On my pass. I ain't fucking paying. No, I'm kidding.
Alex Keane, thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, man.